उस दौर में क्लिनिकल ट्रायल कैसे हुआ करते थे?
So 3 months after I joined my first job,
Mhm.
we submitted an application for a phase 1 clinical trial for an anti-cancer molecule.
Okay.
And it was the first phase 1 anti-cancer clinical trial done in India by the industry. The application was submitted in August 1998.
Mhm.
We got the approval in October 2000.
As a sponsor, what are those expectations from the CRO or trial sites?
For most trials, we work with CROs and we have very high expectations. CROs know that. So, what they often tend to do is over-promise and under-deliver.
What kind of factors that influence to take those की less budget देना है, tight timeline देना है?
So many days. Then at the end, he asked, any questions?
हाँ.
So there was one Indian. He said, कितना देती है?
Mileage. So clinical trials में public में काफ़ी misunderstanding and bad perception है. इसको लेके सर ये perception how we can improve or how we can make sure that people should understand what is clinical trials.
Every medicine which is there in the market available in shop
Right.
also has side effect.
Right.
There is no medicine with zero side effect. We used to think that medicines are like made like chocolates, and they are directly put in the medicine shop.
So I have seen most of the media has portrayed in a such a way that clinical trials are done for the money. What is your thought on this, Dr. Arani?
Clinical trial is not a money-making exercise. Clinical trial is a money-spending exercise.
What kind of impact you have seen when media covers a different pictures of clinical trials?
Media tends to focus on the negative side, and again, not just about clinical trials.
For any.
You open any newspaper, you will see number of robbery, theft, murder. But when COVID happened, even the US was able to make a vaccine in 11 months.
Right.
Because if everyone had to wait for 5 years, half of the world's population would have been dead.
Hello and welcome to Beyond the Molecule podcast. I am your host, Dr. Mangesh, founder and CEO of Akshar Global Clinical Research. First of all, thank you so much, viewers, those who have commented, given the feedback, and subscribed our channel. The rationale behind of this particular podcast to make sure and aware of practical challenges, even real world insights to the clinical research and development world. आज के गेट्स जो सिर्फ लीडरशिप को रिप्रेजेंट नहीं करते, वो आज के जनरेशन को भी रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं. उन्होंने देखा है क्लिनिकल रिसर्च ग्रो होते हुए, समझा है और शेप किया है. He is having more than 3 decades of experience. He has seen clinical trials grow day by day. It is a pleasure to welcome Dr. Arani Chatterjee to our podcast. Thank you so much, Dr. Arani, to joining us.
Thank you, Dr. Mangesh, and good evening, viewers. It's a privilege to be part of this Beyond the Molecules podcast, and I would like to thank AGCR for inviting me to be a part of this show.
Thank you so much, sir. To start with, I would like to understand your personal journey. आप फर्स्ट जनरेशन की हिस्सा हो. उस दौर में क्लिनिकल ट्रायल कैसे हुआ करते थे? What are the challenges you have faced and how you manage it?
So, I'm a medical doctor by training, and I did my graduation from Christian Medical College, Vellore, after which I worked as a resident in Calcutta for over 4 years. Then I did my post graduation from the National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences, Bangalore.
Wow.
And I was working in Rajiv Gandhi Center for Biotechnology, Trivandrum, as a research associate. So one day, my roommate showed me one advertisement in a newspaper
Mm-hmm.
for a position of clinical research physician. So I did not have the slightest clue about what it is, but it seemed very interesting because it had three words: clinical, research, physician,
Oh.
all three put in one. And he also said that, it's from a very renowned pharmaceutical company in Hyderabad.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you go and at least appear for interview? So I thought, okay, no harm. So I went, I had a full day interview, and somehow they happened to like me. So I joined, and as they say, it's history. And now, for the past 27 years, I'm doing clinical research. But let me put this in a different context. So I joined the industry in 1998.
Wow.
Now, as you know, all clinical research is driven by what is called good clinical practices or GCP.
Yes.
It is in fact considered the Bible
Bible.
of clinical research. Now, the first edition of the GCP was published in 1996. That is just 2 years before I joined the industry. People at that time were still trying to understand what is this good clinical practice,
Mm-hmm.
how is it supposed to be implemented, what do we have to do differently. The government of India organized a 4-day workshop in Mud Island,
Mm-hmm.
Mumbai,
Mm-hmm.
where they got international speakers
Okay.
to train people in GCP.
Mm-hmm.
They also were kind enough to invite industry participants, and I was fortunate to be one of the members attending that conference.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the position from where we started this journey, all of us in India. And it has been a long time, a quarter of a century
Mm-hmm.
to be precise. And a lot of evolution has happened, a lot of developments have happened. But it all goes back to those early days. And talking of challenges, yes, because it was at a nascent stage at that time and guidelines were still evolving, we had to cope with a lot of challenges. I'll give you one example. So, 3 months after I joined my first job,
Mm-hmm.
we submitted an application for a phase 1 clinical trial for an anti cancer molecule.
Okay.
And it was the first phase 1 anti cancer clinical trial done in India by the industry. The application was submitted in August 1998.
Mm-hmm.
We got the approval in October 2000.
It's almost 2 years.
More than that, 2 years, 2 months to be exact.
Wow.
And that is only because the prevalent guidelines for clinical trials at that time in India, that is Schedule Y,
Mm-hmm.
did not have any special provisions for anti cancer drugs.
Oh.
When Schedule Y was revised in 2005, they introduced special provisions for anti cancer drugs, but
Mm-hmm.
it was not there at that time in 1998. So, we tried to justify our protocol based on European guidelines. But the drugs controller office insisted that since Schedule Y was the law in India, we had to follow it.
Right.
So, this discussion, debate went on for over 2 years before we could get the approval. So, that is one example of the kind of challenges that we had to face. Also, sites at that time were very inexperienced in doing clinical trials. However, I was personally fortunate to do my first trial at Nizam's Institute of Medical Sciences, Hyderabad, with an investigator who is a renowned oncologist, and he was already doing trials for multinational companies,
That's really great.
because of which our trial was done in a very nice way. But otherwise, in general, it was very difficult to get investigators. Forget about good investigators, investigators who have done clinical trials. Even later, when I was in my second company, we have trained investigators to do their first trials.
Oh,
And the same investigators have become so experienced. Later, WHO has selected them for their trials. So, I have seen, clinical research going through a lot of different phases during this long journey.
thank you so much for sharing your personal detail. I must say that, it took 2 years to approve the anti-cancer molecule application. I mean to say, and even you have convinced a principal investigator to be a part of this particular clinical trials. Definitely, hats off to you that we have those now. Even though you have taken a very renowned institute who are doing clinical trials a lot nowadays. Thank you so much, Dr. Arani. कभी कभी क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स में एक्सपेक्टेशन एंड एग्जीक्यूशन में जमीन आसमान का फर्क होता है इन रिलेटेड टू CRO sponsor and trial site also. As a sponsor, what are those expectation from the CRO or trial sites say, how we can reduce those gap and make sure that whatever we are expecting, those expectation has to be executed in a such a way that that gap should be reduced.
A very good point, because for most trials we work with CROs and we have very high expectations. CROs know that. So what they often tend to do is over promise and under deliver. But I don't think that is the right approach. So when I am looking at a CRO, there are three things I expect from the CRO.
Okay.
One, that the CRO should not act as an agent of the sponsor, which is what the definition is, but rather they should act as an extension of the sponsor.
Right.
Two, the CRO should not act as a pair of hands,
Hmm.
because that is what execution is. But they should also go beyond the execution and understand, what is the rationale for the development, what is the protocol, and why the study is being done.
Hmm.
Then the execution becomes much better rather than doing it mechanically.
Right.
And three, the CROs should take ownership. So they should not just look at it as a commercial project for generating revenue.
Right.
Rather, they should be invested in the trial. So some CROs, even in my experience, I have seen, run on a risk sharing or success sharing model.
Right.
I think that's a very innovative concept, because then the CRO also has equal stakes in the trial, not just getting money irrespective of the outcome. Then, they are equally sincere about
Hmm.
what they are doing.
Hmm.
So, this is what I would like from a CRO. But it's not just about CROs. Sometimes the execution and performance gap also comes because of investigators.
Hmm.
Because they are also sometimes, over optimistic. Not that they are giving any false picture, but they have, high hopes about doing such trials. But in reality, what happens is that we do not take into account practical things
Right.
like holidays, festivals,
Right.
vacations, rains, patients not agreeing to participate in the trials. So it is not just a question of simple arithmetic
Hmm.
that we need so many patients, you have so many patients, A into B is equal to C.
See. Right.
That is not how it works. So feasibility, I think, is a very important part of planning. And I read somewhere, I did one course where there was a quotation: failing to plan is planning to
To
fail.
fail. Correctly mentioned, sir.
So that is the most important thing that we need to keep in mind, so that later when we come to the execution part, we don't face unexpected challenges.
Right.
तो जो इन्वेस्टिगेटर है उसका जो मेन काम है वो मेरा ट्रायल करना नहीं है, उसका काम पेशेंट देखना है।
बराबर,
उसके बाद जो टाइम बचता है उसमें वो मेरा ट्रायल करता है।
बराबर।
मैं 8 घंटे फुल टाइम अपने कंपनी के लिए काम करता हूँ,
राइट,
मगर इन्वेस्टिगेटर 8 घंटा मेरे लिए काम नहीं करता है। So that also needs to go into the calculation, because I am calculating that in 8 hours investigator will give me X number of subjects. बट वो तो 8 घंटा काम नहीं कर रहा है ना, मेरे लिए 2 घंटा ही कर रहा है।
राइट,
अब उसमें उसको X/4 ही मिलेगा। मेरा रिक्रूटमेंट टाइम अगर 1 महीने का था वो 4 महीना हो जाएगा।
बराबर।
तो इस तरह की जो चीज़ें हैं वो हमको सोचना पड़ेगा,
राइट,
ताकि यू नो आई ऑलवेज से it should not be an Excel sheet exercise.
राइट। इट शुड बी ऑपरेशनल एग्जीक्यूटिव
It has to be a real life exercise.
एक्सरसाइज।
जाके देखना पड़ता है कि साइट में कितने लोग हैं, कितना जगह है, कितने मरीज आते हैं,
राइट,
ऑल दिस अफेक्ट्स, कितनी दूर से आते हैं, all this makes a impact on the trial. So again, bottom line is that planning should not be theoretical.
इट शुड बी प्रैक्टिकल।
It should be practical to reduce the gap between execution and expectation.
Right. Thank you so much. Again, like in addition to that, you have correctly mentioned that ki CRO is not an agent. It's supposed to be a strategic partner. And whenever we are planning to develop the protocol, it should be scientific as well as the operation executable has to be done on that. So we need to get those reality, the ground level reality. Then only we can produce such a protocol that can be executable in India. That is what we think. सो क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स में पब्लिक में काफ़ी मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग एंड लाइक बैड परसेप्शन है। इसको लेके सर ये परसेप्शन हाउ वी कैन लाइक improve, or how we can make sure that people should understand what is clinical trials.
So see, any product which is currently in the market has undergone clinical trials. The only thing is it has started later in India and it has started earlier outside India. So till it started in India, we were not aware of the clinical trial process. We used to think that medicines are like made like chocolates, and they are directly put in
The
the
wrappers.
medicine shop.
Right.
But medicines are not chocolates. Medicines have side effects. Medicines may not work. Medicines are difficult to develop. So there is a process for doing it, and clinical trials is also part of that process. Now, why it is important? See, nobody does clinical trials without a reason.
Right.
So, what are the reasons for doing clinical trial? One is to develop a new medicine, or if there is already a medicine available in the market, then to find out if there is a better medicine,
Advancement. Yeah.
or a safer medicine, or a cheaper medicine.
Right.
All these things, right? All these things are important to patients. It's a better medicine, they will get better faster. If it is safer, they will have less side effects.
Right.
If it is cheaper, then it will be more affordable, especially for a lower resource country, including India. But to do this, we have to do clinical trials. Otherwise, if somebody brings out a product without clinical trials, it is much more risky. So clinical trials are essential. That is something first you have to understand. Second thing that we have to understand is that clinical trials are a stepwise process. So even before clinical trials, a product is tested in animals, again both for efficacy as well as safety. Only after it has gone through that process we start clinical trials.
Right.
In clinical trials also, first we do safety in phase 1, only after that we do efficacy in phase 2. If it is efficacious and safe, only then we do phase 3. So there are a lot of safeguards built
Mhm.
in. Having said that, I'm not saying that clinical trial is zero risk.
Mhm.
There are
There are
always
risks.
risks. But what we should remember is every medicine which is there in the market, available in shop,
Right.
also
There
has
is
side
side
effect.
effect. Right.
There is no medicine with zero side effect.
Right.
So clinical trial is not different from medicines which are available in the market. Only thing is these are experimental,
Mhm.
because of which we have to take informed consent from patients, we have to take regulatory approval, we have to take ethics committee approval, we have to do lot of safety checks, efficacy checks at every point to make sure that patients are not harmed in any way.
Right.
But otherwise, clinical trials are very important, and sometimes, let me tell you, for life saving conditions, when there is no
No
treatment
treatment,
available,
alternative treatment. Right.
clinical trial is the only option for patients
Right.
to access cutting edge therapy,
Right.
gene therapy, stem cell therapy, anti cancer therapy. Then, if you participate in a clinical trial now, as per new rules, you can have post trial access to
Right.
medicine. So, if that product has helped you, benefited you in clinical trial, even after the trial is over, you can continue to get that medicine
Medicine.
free of cost.
Right.
So there are a lot of benefits also from participating in clinical trials, and we need to make people aware of the benefits along with the risks.
Right.
So it should not be one sided. Even when you buy a medicine, if you check the package insert prescribing information, it gives both benefit and risk. So similarly, when we do clinical trials, we have something called a patient information sheet
Mhm.
where we put all the benefit and risks.
Right.
People should read it carefully, understand, and then take a decision based on their personal choice.
Right.
But end of the day, clinical trials must be there for people in the world and of this country to have access to better medicines.
To understand better this particular ICA process, we have already mentioned that whether this drug will be beneficial or maybe a risky one. So all detail has been included in the ICF, whether you can take the participation or not. Even we are mentioning that benefit is more than risk. And what are the risks? These also we have mentioned in the ICF.
So the media should give a balanced perspective so that people are aware of what is happening good, along with if something bad is happening, that also they should be aware. But sometimes, because of TRP ratings or sensationalization, media tends to focus on the negative side. And again, not just about clinical trials. You open any newspaper, you will see, number of robbery, theft, murder, so many other stories. I'm sure will be equally number of some good stories, someone who has helped someone, someone who has done some good thing. But I don't see so many stories like that. So what I'm saying is media will not go away. Media is here to stay, and we have to be cognizant of the media. It's just that media should be responsible.
So I have seen like most of the media has like a portrait in a such a way that clinical trials are done for the money. What is your thought on this, Dr. Rani?
I think it's an unfair accusation Because let me tell you, clinical trial is not a money making exercise. Clinical trial is a money spending exercise.
Right.
See, it takes billions of dollars literally to bring a NC into the market. And two-thirds of this cost goes into clinical trials. So, if pharma companies did not have to do clinical trials, they can straight away save two-thirds of this cost.
Definitely.
So, they have no financial incentive in doing clinical trials. And that money which is saved can either make the medicine cheaper or can make higher profits for the company. So, as far as company is concerned, it is not at all about money. Now, coming to the doctor, I already told you earlier that doctor is not depending on clinical trials for earning money. He is earning lot of money by seeing patients. So, those who are doing clinical trials, let me tell you, are doing it mostly. If you don't like word only, then I will use mostly because of scientific interest, because of publication, because patients who cannot pay for treatment can participate in clinical trial, patients who do not have access to any treatment can participate in clinical trials. These are the reasons I believe doctors are doing clinical trials, not for making money. If they write prescriptions, they can make much more money. So, I'll tell you one story. Somewhere in 2010 or something like that, the government of India had called for a meeting in Delhi. So, I used to work in Delhi at that time. So, any meeting happened, we used to be default attenders. So, Dr. M.K. Bhan, who was there at that time, he told one important thing which I still remember. He told all of us who were there, including CROs, don't call clinical research as an industry. He said, as an industry, clinical research ranks very low. Revenue generated by clinical research is much less compared to other industries. He gave lot of examples. I remember one, he said sericulture, other industries, they make lot more money. So there is no financial incentive in going into clinical research. People do clinical research only for the love of science. If you portray clinical research that way, not as an industry, then you will find people realizing the importance. If you call it an industry, people will think it is just another commercial exercise. But that is not what is clinical research. So, that is what I want to recount today, and once again stress the point that clinical trials is not a money making business. The money making business comes after the clinical trials. When the product is
Product.
launched,
Right.
that is where you make money, not through clinical trials. Nobody makes money through clinical trials.
If I go for the media narration again, for patient trial trust and then patient participation in clinical trials, uh, what kind of impact you have seen in, like, when media covers a different pictures of clinical trials?
See, I feel, media plays a very important part in our society, not just for clinical trials, but in every area, including politics and other societal norms. So it acts as a gatekeeper
Mhm.
of our conscience. So, you know, media is a very honorable profession.
Right.
So we must not be afraid of media.
Mhm.
If we are doing things right, then media will give right coverage.
Right.
If we are doing
Doing the
wrong
something wrong thing.
things,
Right.
then media will definitely catch us. And here, what is important is earlier, media was not so widespread. So, even if we were doing wrong things, people were doing wrong things, they were not getting caught. But nowadays, media is everywhere. So, we must be very honest, not just about clinical trials. Again, I'm making this point about anything we do. Having said this, the other thing I want to tell is that media should always give both sides of the story,
Right.
because every story has two sides.
Definitely.
So, media should not give just one side of the story, because that can create a skewed perception
Mhm.
in the minds of the audience or the reader.
Right.
So, the media should give a balanced perspective so that people are aware of what is happening good, along with if something bad is happening, that also they should be aware. But sometimes, because of TRP ratings or sensationalization, media tends to focus on the negative side. And again, not just about clinical trials.
For any.
You open any newspaper, you will see, number of robbery, theft, murder, so many other stories. I'm sure there will be equally number of some good stories, someone who has helped someone,
Right.
someone who has done some good thing.
Mhm.
But I don't see so many stories like that. So
Mhm.
what I'm saying is media will not go away. Media is here to stay, and we have to be cognizant of the media. It's just that media should be responsible, and media should be truthful. That's all.
Yeah, that is a very good point again, sir. Media plays very crucial role. Any whether it's like social media or in news, because unless and until they do root cause analysis,
Yes.
with the fact checking whether it is really happen or not, uh, I guess like they should, rather than going for the TRP, they should do the root cause analysis. What exactly happened? Who is the man behind, or who is the brain behind on that particular issue? I guess if they can do it, I guess like on those like narratives and media narratives, it will be not that have impact.
And one more thing I want to tell you, sometimes, especially now, media is nowhere in the picture, because now this is the age of deep fakes.
Right.
So you are getting reels, videos, news, fake news, which media has not published,
Hmm.
but people are getting misled.
Right.
So again, people also have to be careful about what they are reading, what they are seeing, and do fact check, like you said,
Definitely.
without believing everything blindly.
Right.
Understand what is the problem, what is the root cause of the problem, and then take their own decision, not just simply go by what is
Blindly.
told.
Right, right. Completely understand, sir. Sir, I would like to ask you a very important question, and even viewers will definitely interested to listen what exactly you want to say. India may, like when we do clinical trials, we have a very limited budget as well as very tight timelines. However, if we go for the MNC-led clinical trials, they have a very good budget. I have worked on 40 millions, 50 millions budget also. So they are also giving a very good timelines to execute those particular study. For if I go back again to Indian scenario, for the tight budget and unrealistic timeline, how you take those decision, how what kind of factors that influence to take those ki less budget dena hai, tight timeline dena hai, to check our CRO's patients, or what exactly uh, like an insight you have?
You are very right that India operates on a low budget, tight timeline.
Mhm.
So why is it? I'll give you one ad which you must have seen.
Mhm.
It came sometimes back that there was some NASA rocket. Somebody was describing that it has so much velocity and it can reach the moon
Mhm.
in so many days. Then at the end he asked any questions.
हाँ.
So there was one Indian. He said, "कितना देती है?"
Mileage.
So we are very cost conscious, time conscious people.
Mhm.
But that is natural for us because, like I said, we are low resource situation compared to multinationals. But because of this cost consciousness and time consciousness, we have been able to deliver products at a much cheaper and a much faster rate compared to many other companies. And sometimes people have realized that it is not as costly or as time consuming as we thought.
Right.
So let me give you another example. So I work in the vaccine development also, and since last 20 years I have been hearing, everybody has been telling, it takes 5 to 10 years to bring a vaccine to market.
Right. Even the polio also,
That,
we
that
got
is
in 9 years.
that is the principle everybody is operating.
Right.
But when COVID happened,
Mhm.
even the US was able to make a vaccine in 11 months
Right.
because if everyone had to wait for 5 years, half of the world's population would have been dead.
Right.
So see, when we really need to do something fast, people
We
will do
have
it.
to. We have to.
If you don't
Yes.
need to, then you will take your own time. If you have money, you will spend.
Mhm.
If you don't have money, you will try to save.
Right.
So I don't see, anything wrong. And especially, like I told you, affordability is a big concern in India.
Mhm.
The more money I spend on clinical trial,
Mhm.
the more expensive my medicine is going to be because I have to recover that cost.
Right.
Where will I recover that cost? From sales only.
Right.
So in India, if I make a medicine which no one can buy,
Mhm.
then what is the use?
Right.
So I have to make a product which people can buy. For that, I have to try to cut down on my costs, not just in clinical trials,
Mhm.
starting from raw material, starting from production, starting from clinical trial,
Mhm.
starting from other things also, marketing.
Mhm.
Multinational companies have, huge marketing budgets.
Right.
We don't have such kind of luxury.
Okay.
So, so you see, we have developed the art of doing things at a lesser cost, at a lesser in a lesser time. And I think that is our USP actually
Mhm.
in India. Having said that, we should not cut corners.
Mhm.
We should not compromise on quality,
Quality. Right.
right? Because that is not negotiable. But it is still possible to do things spending less money and less time.
Mhm.
So I actually, feel very good about our ability to do so. Just because I have to do something doesn't mean that I have unlimited money and time to do it. No,
Right.
nobody has that.
Right. So again, sir, if you are doing some faster trial, definitely quality should not be compromised. That is the most part of that clinical trials. So again, the budget part, I will go with the CROs. Definitely, realistic timelines, yes. we should have a realistic timeline as well as the budget, because thing is that it's a combined work from site, pi, cro, and the sponsor. And I guess, like, if you justify those, like, with the budget, and then the compliance part, then the timelines with around those budget part only. So I guess, like, we should spend some money where we justify the recruitment timelines and compliance too. So I am in favor with the CROs. I guess sponsor company should spend some extra money to make sure that keep everyone in win-win situation.
No, no, you are perfectly right. What I am saying is we have to learn to do things smartly.
Right? Yeah, completely
And
agree.
again, I will give the COVID example.
Mhm.
We all know phase 1, phase 2, phase 3.
Right.
But when COVID happened, people came up with the idea of seamless clinical trials.
Right.
Phase 1 by 2,
Yeah, 1 by 3.
phase 2 by 3.
Right.
So, when you are going to do such kind of trial, 1 by 2, 2 by 3, what does that mean? You
You
will
don't
come do
have
it
to.
faster
Right. You
and
don't
you
have
will spend less money
less money
also.
on application. Right.
So, I'm not saying that, you don't pay investigators, don't pay CROs. I am just saying that you find innovative ways
Hmm.
to do the clinical trial so that you don't have to spend
Extra
too
money on
much
this.
money. That
Right.
is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that, everyone should work for free.
It will not happen. Don't
that,
worry, sir.
that is not the idea.
Right.
But we have to think of novel approaches. Again, when we were forced to do
Hmm.
during COVID,
We have done
we
it.
have done it.
Right.
So and now what is happening is after COVID, I'll tell you one very good example.
Hmm.
This drug controller used to have meetings, no, with all companies.
Hmm.
So whenever these meetings happened, we had to go to Delhi,
Hmm.
spend the whole day there, sometimes stay overnight also,
Right.
then for have 1 hour meeting
Hmm.
and then come back.
Right.
Now during COVID, all air travel stopped, and along with vaccines, people came up with lot of new technologies also, like this online
Yeah.
video calls.
Right.
Like before this
Hmm.
Zoom and all that was not
Not
there
there.
so much. It was there,
Uh-huh.
but not so much. So after that, it became common.
Hmm.
Now COVID is gone, but
Again, come back to
DCGI
the
is
normal one.
no, they have not come back to normal. DCGI is still continuing with virtual meetings.
Wow, that's great.
So now you see, I don't have to go to Delhi.
Hmm.
I don't
You
have to
can,
spend
yes.
flight ticket, hotel. I don't have to waste one day.
Hmm.
I just have to log in only for that 1 hour during the meeting.
Hmm.
So you are saving time, you are saving money.
Hmm.
This is what I am telling.
Right.
I'm not saying that you don't do things which are required,
Right.
but you should try to find ways of doing things
Like in an easy way,
in a
innovative way.
smarter way,
Right.
more.
Completely agree. And sir, COVID is the real eye opener. Frankly speaking, I have seen those protocols reviewed in the night also. Even ethics committee has done their ethics committee approval in the night. We have given the timelines like this is really, really requirement, and they have done it very extraordinarily. Even I today only I have seen we have presented phase 1 by 3 in SEC, and that is again online. We
Yes.
have, like, mentioned whatever points we have to mention, and they are happy, we are happy. So those innovative, definitely, like,
So
when.
you said win-win, na?
Right.
This is win-win.
Right.
Sponsor is happy, CRO is happy,
SEC members also happy, they
SAC
don't
member
have to
also,
travel.
yes, yes.
Right.
So that is what is required.
Completely agree, sir. Thank you.
And that money which is saved here can either be passed on to the patient or it can be spent in back in R&D
Definitely.
to develop more products. Money is not wasted.
Definitely. Yeah, this is again, like, those money can save and they can be like,
Yes.
distributed to the CROs
Yes,
or the
yes,
patient
yes.
or the investigator.
Of course, of
Yeah.
course.
We were discussing about your career, and you already passed 3 decades of experience in clinical trials, and you have also mentioned that most of the times you are in sponsor, not in CRO sites. Leading to that, perspective, I have a question. Like, CRO select karte samay, which factors are important to you to run for a long duration or long journey with, if we say सक्सेस या फेल्यूर में कौन सा फैक्टर इन्फ्लुएंस करता कि हाँ, if I'm selecting this CRO, then I should check this checkpoint whether this CRO is really good for me as a sponsor.
So, earlier in one question, I talked about some of the behavioral components that I expect from a CRO. They should not be acting like agents but extension, not like a pair of hands but strategic partner, mm, taking ownership for the project. So those are behavioral. The other part, of course, is the technical.
Mhm.
So in technical, I feel it is very important, one, to have the relevant therapeutic experience.
Mhm.
So it can be either direct or indirect.
Mhm.
Direct means that CRO already has done trial in that therapeutic area.
Mhm.
Indirect means CRO has not done trial, maybe new CRO.
Mhm.
No, everybody has to start
Start
somewhere,
somewhere, right?
But they have people who have
Done
done
this.
such trials in their earlier experience.
Yeah,
So if they have to do a similar trial, they will
they
be
should
able to
use
do
their
it
experience,
properly.
right?
So therapeutic experience is very important
Mhm.
because each trial is different.
Definitely, completely
Vaccine
agree.
trial is different from pharma trial. Oncology trial is different from respiratory
Respiratory.
trial.
Mhm.
So if I have done one,
Mhm.
it doesn't mean that I can do the other one.
Many, yeah.
I can do. See, steps are all same.
Mhm.
Informed consent, site initiation, monitoring, close. That is fine. But they should also have an understanding of the protocol,
Protocol, right?
not just the procedures,
Mhm.
not just the activities.
Mhm.
That okay, I have to do investigational product management, I have to do essential document management. These are activities. But what is the study about? What is the product? What is the disease? What is the treatment?
Yeah, what is the flow of that
Some,
particular procedure?
I'm not
Yeah.
saying that they have to be expert in
Mhm.
that, but they should have some basic understanding so that they
Definitely.
know why things are being done
Mhm.
rather than mechanically doing it. That is what I think, how they can add value to the work that they are doing. That is one. And the other thing is what kind of network they have built. So even if new CRO, it's okay. Like, no, I told you, direct, indirect. What is the investigator network, the site network they have, or they have worked in earlier experience? Because ultimately it is about human relationships also.
Mhm.
Again, I told you earlier, investigator is
Not for.
not working for me,
Uh, yeah.
you know. So if I have good relationship
Mhm.
with him,
Mhm.
then he will give importance to my trial also.
Definitely.
Otherwise, he is a
He
busy
will not.
person,
He will
he
not
will
work for
not.
us. Right.
So CRO must have very good rapport
Mhm.
and relationship
Mhm.
with the sites.
Definitely.
That is again very important. And other things, like they should be proactive, not reactive. They should not, come to the sponsor for each question,
Right. They should be accountable for.
or if they come to the sponsor for each question, they should have some suggestion for a solution also. Otherwise it will become, just a problem solving exercise. Then I might as well do it myself
Then why we are
if I
asking
have
for a
to.
strategic
Yes,
partnership,
yes,
right?
so these are things, which we look for a CRO, in a CRO. And the bigger CROs, they obviously, have all this whatever I said. But then your previous question you mentioned about budget, na?
Right. Again, that
so
that that
so
have a
so
constraint.
that is a constraint, and that is why,
Uh,
people like you and others
mhm,
in India
mhm.
who have come up with this,
In India,
initiative of forming niche
niche,
niche CROs,
right?
with targeted expertise.
Definitely, that is correct.
They are very valuable for Indian sponsors, especially
Definitely, I
because,
completely agree, sir.
you can provide value for money
Definitely,
and do trials at the same quality, because the quality is not
not supposed to be.
negotiable.
Definitely,
So same quality but less cost. So for example, you go for a site initiation visit and you find that the CRO is not cognizant of the protocol. See, protocol presentation is normally done by sponsor. Other presentations, logs, forms, reporting, those kind of things are done by CRO. But still, what I expect is, even protocol also, they should have an understanding. Not just about tasks, but the study itself. So what I mean is, they should have the bigger picture, holistic understanding. That is also a very important attribute that I feel a CRO should have in a selection criteria.
definitely. This is again the very good part, sir. Even like we do when we develop the protocol, even the lab, even the questionnaires which we are putting, this should be give some significance why we are putting those scale or why we are putting those lab, because we don't want to unnecessarily give a pain to the patient and withdraw those. So the protocol, again, I'm diverting the topic, but still, I'm just saying that the protocol should be very thoroughly reviewed by KOL, thoroughly reviewed by sponsor as well as the CRO. Again, come back to the again CRO selection part. I have seen many of the CROs. Now if I take example of one of my sponsor, they have been thoroughly investigated, they have write the protocol, they have went one CRO, they have not done the proper justification and recruitment, because inclusion and exclusion criteria is very stringent, sir. They moved to other CRO and they have come up with us as a rescue CRO. Now what we have done, we have mentioned our the the features which we need to make sure that this protocol should be executable operation wise. So we have make sure that key inclusion exclusion, even the process which we are supposed to go for those particular protocol to the end of the study, it should be very lenient and make sure that it's executable at site end. So we have done the KOLs in a meeting also to make sure that everyone, whether it's like sponsor, CRO and the KOL, that they should become in one page, ताकि वो जो project है वो successful हो जाए. And I guess we are like you know making sure that this should be executable and it will be this is really critical part of oncology study, but again it depends in how you execute those.
That is very important actually for another reason also. Regulators are also nowadays stressing this point,
Mhm.
that trials should be generalizable.
Right.
They should be extrapolatable
Right.
to the patient population. Otherwise, what happens is the patients selected for the trial are so specific
Mhm.
that product will only work in them.
Right.
It will
They have
not
a
in
very stringent
anybody.
criteria to not to include the other participant. Right.
So that makes it difficult also for the doctor and the CRO
Right.
and even the sponsor also at the end of the day. So to make it not just easy but make it relevant for the patient, we must ensure that protocols should be amenable to execution.
Definitely. This is what we do. The standard practice is to make sure that key study should go in a such a way and a smooth way to there will be no hurdles, barriers in when we do the conduct of that particular study. Leading to that particular questions, I have another questions for you. Uh, when we say as you mentioned about the experience, again if I take example of three CROs, uh, those who having experience but that budget is kind of for example 5 cr, and the second CRO is having a budget of 4.5 cr, and the third CRO is only quoting 4 cr because there is a 50 lakhs gap. That person who has little bit or no experience at all, but still I have found that sponsor has selected because of less money. They don't have any experience, but they have selected because they have quoted a less budget. In your experience, sir, which CRO do you think should get those particular study, or as you have mentioned that it should be experience should be consider when we select the CROs? What is your thought on that, sir?
Now, I have two examples for this. So, in one of my previous experience, this happened. So, we did 7 studies with one CRO who was very good, obviously. That's why we did 7 studies. And we got timely results and good data every time. That last study which I did in that company, some new CRO with less experience, they gave a very unrealistic quote. But what happened in that study? Finally, recruitment was severely delayed, and ultimately one site had to recruit 50% of the total sample to make up. It was a good site, but because of that, they had a regulatory inspection
Inspection.
triggered
Right.
because they enrolled so many patients. That also went off smoothly, no
Mhm.
problem.
Mhm.
But all this happened because of this problem.
Experience. Right.
And then there is a catch there, which people don't realize. So suppose you are buying shoes. So one fellow says 100 rupees, another says 200 rupees. So you buy 100 rupees. Then you come back and see that there is no shoelace. So then you go back, then he said, no, only shoe was,
Cost you $100.
shoelace is another 100. So ultimately you will spend same money, 200. Only thing is, initially you thought you are getting 50% cheaper. But there is nothing, like a free lunch. So either they will, compromise on quality or time, or they will have hidden cost. So it does not work that way. And I would definitely, choose someone who can do the trial. See, if I, don't get anything after spending money, what is the use?
Will kill your time
No
and the money
use.
also.
Waste of time, waste of money.
Definitely.
So, suppose we are doing one study now. So, CRO which we selected, they clearly told we are not the costliest, we are not the cheapest.
That will be the average one.
We are somewhere there in the middle, but we do a good job. So that is what is important. So I'm not saying that you have to go for the costliest one, but not the cheapest one also. All times. If in Delhi there used to be one phrase, "Sasta Sundar Tikau."
Right,
That is very difficult to find.
right. It is really difficult, sir. सस्ता भी चाहिए, सुंदर भी चाहिए और टिकाऊ भी रहना
Yes.
चाहिए. बराबर. अगेन लाइक मेरे दो थोड़ा से ये है कि सीआरओ सिलेक्ट करते समय डेफिनेटली एज यू मेंशन एक्सपीरियंस तो रहना ही चाहिए. दैट इज द मोस्ट क्रिटिकल पार्ट. But I have seen, like, and I will tell you example, not selecting the CRO, but in a person. I have given one task to two CRA. One is experienced senior CRA. One is freshers, just like अंडे से बाहर निकल के आया है, fresh mind. And the experienced one is he has solved in 1 hour, and the other one, Adan CRA, he has solved it within 15 minutes. मेरा टेक क्या है सर इसमें कि कभी कभी फ्रेश व्यू का भी बहुत ज्यादा असर होता है. जो टास्क 1 घंटे लगा सकता है सीआरए, दैट कैन बी डन इन 15 minutes इफ यू go for the fresh mind, fresh perspective. Actually, again, CRO, we'll come back to CRO selection. Sometimes we should have those experience, but if team has a kind of oncology studies experience, definitely that will give you advance or, like, good points to select those CROs. सर ऐसा देखा है कि सीआरओ ने अच्छा काम किया है तो स्पॉन्सर की एक्सपेक्टेशन भी बढ़ जाती है. तो वो भी बोलता है कि ये बजट में ये भी करा दो, वो भी करा दो, without changing the change order. Do you think it is good, or what is your thought on that कि change order करना चाहिए? What is your expectation as a sponsor?
Couple of questions previously we talked about sponsors expectation from CRO.
CRO.
Now what is important is CRO also has some expectation from
Definitely.
sponsor.
Again, yes.
So expectation is from both sides,
Right.
and these expectations must be defined in the beginning itself, right?
Definitely. Mhm.
So like I am telling you, this is the timeline I want for enrollment or whatever. Similarly, CRO also should know what are the deliverables,
Hmm.
and there should not be a change in the scope
Mhm.
in between.
Mhm.
See, if there is some scientific alteration, modification through some protocol amendment,
Mhm.
that's a different thing because it's a
Yeah, it's
formal
amendment. We have to
formal
do the
change.
change order. Huh?
But otherwise, just simply things which are out of scope, if that is also expected or
Mhm.
asked for, then what happens is it creates undue
Pressure.
pressure on the
CRO.
CRO. Yes,
Right.
they have already some certain deliverables which they have to provide, and sponsor is not going to have any flexibility for that. On top of that, if they have to do additional things, it's all right, no problem, but they will need additional resources,
Definitely.
that's all. So they will have to use two people instead of one person.
Right.
Then that one extra person needs to be paid, so that money or budget has to be provided, or they may need some equipments, some laptop or something like that to do it. So again it comes to question of resources. So additional request is okay if it is accompanied by additional resource.
Right.
Without resource we cannot get additional work done. That is what I believe. Otherwise what will happen, I'll tell you, it is not good also. because he will, you have to do, I'll tell you, four things, and you have 100 rupees.
Mhm.
You will plan to spend 25 rupees on each.
In each activity.
Now I'll ask you to do five things, but not increase the budget. How
Right,
will you do it?
right.
You will
Uh,
not spend 125 rupees.
no,
You will spend 20 rupees for each
each
five
activity.
things.
Right.
So ultimately I am loser because I will get only 80% of the quality in the other four things. So even if you look at it from a business point of view, no, it is not good to expect out of scope activity from a CRO, because that will compromise the already agreed upon deliverables.
But again, sir, like we have to maintain those relationship with the sponsor and CRO. Sometimes where it's very difficult to make them understand that this is a out of scope activity and this has to be charged. Sometimes, अरे छोटा सा तो है, can you just do it? But for resource allocation, it as you mentioned that we will require a laptop, we will require the time, we will require the person who will dedicatedly do that particular task. But sponsors sometimes they don't understand. Even frankly speaking, sometimes they ask us for the interim analysis, which is out of scope. Even sometimes, like some images, as we have discussed, some images which are not necessary to review by radiologist or maybe my medical experts from the screening, or maybe a baseline visit, which is like mandatory for the baseline visit, but we don't require to review those images in screening, because definitely ultimately the person who is responsible for the screening is the PI. Now, if this is happened, what sponsor is saying, you have to do it because you are my CRO. So my total medical experts, that is like maybe an oncologist or my KOL, has to review that, and then it will give you a green flag that yes, that patient has to be recruited.
No, so see, this is what I told earlier also. The CRO is working for the sponsor. That much I can agree. But investigator is not working for sponsor. Investigator is not working for CRO also. So they may not agree. If some interim analysis, data, crunching, that is asked for, I can understand. But even that requires
There
resource.
should be scope in
But
scope.
asking something at the site level is
It is not
definitely
possible.
not possible,
Not possible.
because investigator will simply refuse. You cannot do anything.
Right.
So we have to be, reasonable in
Mhm.
our expectation. Huh?
Right.
So that is why I said in the beginning itself, what is within scope, what is out of
Out of
scope,
scope.
that has to be
This to
defined.
define, sir. Right.
And so if something is additional is required, I may definitely ask for it, no problem.
Yeah.
But I should have some additional resource allocation for that.
Definitely.
Then,
Completely agree.
then there is no problem.
Sir, about like in a scope of work, yes, we have to make sure that when you develop those scope of work before like in a budgeting part and this one, it will be signed that this is the final one, we will not do any extra work. If we are doing, please let us know upfrontly, this will be added.
Because end of the day, we want the CRO to do a good job.
Yes, sir.
We don't want CRO to do a sloppy job. So, and that is what will happen if they are working without resources. They'll do sloppy job. So that's why I said in own interest, sponsor should not do these things.
Right. Completely agree, like change order will be avoidable first of all, unless and until it is major changes in the protocol and the process. We have discussed earlier that clinical trial जैसे plan करते हैं वैसे execute कभी कभी नहीं होते. मुझे आपके एक्सपीरियंसेस से मुझे बताओ कि सर ऐसा इंसिडेंस हुआ है कि अ, कोई स्टडी रिस्क पे गई हो एंड इट इज़ डिफिकल्ट टू रिकवर, बट एज पर योर एक्सपीरियंस शोज दैट कि स्टडी खत्म भी होगी विद इन टाइमलाइन से, अप्रूवल भी मिल गया है, एंड दैट रेस्क्यू सिचुएशन हैज बीन हैंडल्ड बाय यू एंड टीम. Can you share any good experience study scenario? That will be great, sir.
I can share one experience, but it will not meet all the criteria which you mentioned.
Okay.
कि स्टडी रोकने की नौबत आ गई,
Uh-huh.
फिर वो टाइम पे भी हो गया, ऐसा नहीं होता है.
Uh-huh.
तो जो रोकने की नौबत आ गई थी वो तो डिले हुआ है इसीलिए नौबत आई थी ना.
हम्म.
तो फिर
रिस्क
वो
पे आ गया.
टाइम से वहाँ कहाँ खत्म हो सकता है.
अच्छा.
सो यस, आई हैव फेस्ड सच अ सिचुएशन where enrollment was very difficult, and mainly due to protocol related problems only.
Okay, stringent protocol.
But फिर भी what we did is we focused on, अभी देखो क्या कर सकते हैं उस समय. एक तो इंक्लूशन एक्सक्लूशन क्राइटेरिया चेंज कर सकते हैं, पर उसके लिए आपको रेगुलेटरी अप्रूवल चाहिए, और फिर वो स्पॉन्सर को एक्सेप्टेबल भी नहीं हो सकता है.
Right.
है ना.
Again, that is
क्योंकि
pain.
स्पॉन्सर तो कुछ एक ऑब्जेक्टिव से ट्रायल कर रहा है.
Mhm.
अभी बीच में आपने इंक्लूजन एक्सक्लूजन क्राइटेरिया
Change.
चेंज करने को बोला तो वो क्यों मानेगा.
बराबर.
सो द ओनली ऑप्शन लेफ्ट, रियलिस्टिक ऑप्शन,
Mhm.
इज टू ऐड साइट्स.
Right.
देयर इज ऑफ कोर्स अनदर ऑप्शन, गो टू रेस्क्यू सीआरओ which you mentioned.
Right.
But वैसे you need to add sites. And what I would like to say here is that the final help came from government sites. So this is something I think everyone should try to keep in mind. Government sites are very good places for doing clinical trials, let me tell you.
Yes.
More reasons than one, multiple reasons.
Right, sir.
One, it will cost less.
Mhm.
Investigator may take same money,
Mhm.
but bed charges,
Right.
if you have to admit,
Definitely, there will be a differentiation. Yes.
investigation charges,
Yes.
all that will be less.
Right.
Number two, government sites doctors are more academic minded. I'm not saying that private hospital doctors are not academic minded, but they have some financial commitment also to the hospital,
Right.
right? Because it's a private hospital. In government hospital, there is no such commitment.
Right.
So they are free to devote more time to research. And moreover, in government hospital, promotions are linked to publications. Publications come from research. So that is also another reason why they are more interested. And most important,
Mhm.
government hospital has patients,
Hmm.
which is what
The
you
different
need for
kinds of patient. Right.
trials.
Right.
So although government hospital may lack some infrastructure,
Mhm.
what we can do is we can provide that infrastructure.
Definitely.
We can build a hospital, but in my experience, we have provided things like refrigerators, deep freezers, even ambulance
Mhm.
to
Right.
bring patients
Patients.
from
Yeah.
villages, things like that. But if you can focus on government hospitals, they are a very good place for doing clinical trials.
Completely agree, sir.
And that is how actually I managed to complete the trial which I
Okay.
was talking about.
Even
It got delayed. It
Uh-huh.
got delayed.
Mhm.
Let me admit. But at least it did not get cancelled.
Right.
Because
Because of the
वही बोला था ना
recruitment.
हमने, मतलब रिस्क पे आ गई थी वो.
And
But we could finally
complete that study. Even now, sir, sponsor and CR are also looking for the SMOs who run the clinical trials behalf of like government hospitals. They have a lots of like, even the infrastructure which they required for to conduct that clinical trials, even the oncology, respiratory, they provide those this ones. The best way, like, we have as AGCR, we have more than 1,000 sites in India, and they are providing those facilities. uh, Again, I will tell you my example, sir. Like, when I was in previous organization, one of my colleague who wants, like, and I just want to, like, I have resigned and I have was planning to join. Within 7 days, that person has moved from India to outside, and within 7 days I have to make sure that each and every process has to be learned. uh, that it was a kind of like rescue project manager. And what happened, I have, like, I have to do 210 oncology study, a very big pharma company, Indian pharma company, but it's kind of big one. And they are very particular about the project manager, whether they know or they don't
Hmm.
know. So I have a task, like, within 150 patients has to be recruited within 90 days. And again, I was doing root cause analysis, ki what is the issue they have. I do remember that 17 sites was onboarded. I have put only 6 sites, and those 6 sites have, like, taken care of all 149 150 patient. And the other part was, like, they have taken 1122 patient, and it was oncology.
Happens.
So when we do the root cause analysis, what is the hurdles why they have not recruited? Is there any something, like, sometimes push has to be done. We have to meet face to face. Meeting is really really beneficial
Very
rather
important.
than the telephonic and this ones. So again, it was again nice example you have shared, sir. सर ऐसा भी देखा है कि साइट inspection should be ready before inspection, rather than when it announce inspection is coming and then site is ready. What is your thought on, rather than wait for the inspection, or we should have the pre checklist ready before inspection comes?
So, yeah, I'll tell you one interesting story. So, we got a notice from US FDA, okay, not DCGI, that they are going to inspect some site in Mumbai. So, I went with a team of, 6 other people, 7 of us, to Mumbai one night before. Morning, we all landed up in the site and we met inspector and we had introduction and inspection started. In 15 minutes, we got a call from Kolkata
Mhm.
that another inspector has
Arrived.
landed there
Oh,
without announcement.
okay.
Immediately, I kept 3 people there. It was 5-day inspection, so Monday to Friday I had
Oh,
planned to stay in Mumbai.
uh-huh.
I immediately left 3 people there. 4 of us took a flight to Kolkata
Hmm.
for the other inspection,
Inspection.
which is unannounced.
Oh.
So, the reason I am telling you this is inspections may not be always announced. There are two categories of inspections with US FDA. One which they are supposed to announce before coming, and the other where they can come without announcing also. Same case with DCI also. Drug controller, they can come without announcing. So you don't have any time to prepare it at that time. So if some study is going on, suppose nothing is going on, then it's all right. You don't need to have everything at that point. But if something is going on, even in plant, if production is going on, or in site if study is going on, then you have to be ready for inspection every day in the morning.
Definitely.
There is no time to get ready. Inspector can arrive without giving any notice. So I whatever inspections we have had, we have cleared But I just want to say that even if sometimes somebody does not clear also, it is fine. Fine means there is a chance to
Improvement.
respond to whatever observations are there, and then later it will get cleared.
Right.
So on the spot, even if you don't clear, still
You have a
it's
chance to.
not permanent damage.
Mhm.
You can respond and then get it cleared. But as to readiness, 365 days.
Should be ready. Right. So key takeaway, I can see that, like, uh, it should be start from the day of SIV. That your site should be ready for any announced, unannounced.
Yes, yes.
It should be there.
Oh, I can give you one more example. We had a DCJ inspection in a site where we did not have enrollment. They said, you have not had enrollment, so what? You have done SIV, so we
It
can
has
come
a,
for
oh,
inspection. So you are very right
it
that
should be
from
start from the
SIV
SIV.
onwards, yes.
सर आपका इतना सालों का एक्सपीरियंस है. If I compare with the your leadership quality, I have seen those leadership qualities, features, character, how you have make impactful while taking decision, in mostly in, like, you are in the management seats, how those has impactful when you are taking those decision.
So, last half an hour, I think I have been trying to tell stories. So here I have two stories, not one.
Again, that is again good thing.
So when I moved from my first job to second job, it was a leadership role. So I was offered an HOD position. So at that time, my first company was nominating some people for 2-day leadership program.
Okay.
So I thought this will be very good for me.
We are talking about which year, sir?
2004,
2004. Okay.
because I can use this in my new role.
Okay.
Now, unfortunately, for some reason, they cancelled that.
Leadership program.
No, not the program, the nomination
Nomination.
only.
Okay.
So I thought, no, no, it's important. I paid 5,000 rupees, I still remember,
Oh,
in 2004.
four.
And I went and,
Attend
attended
that.
that 2-day program.
Mhm.
They taught a lot of nice things, different types of leadership and how you have to mix and change. So not same style will not work for all situations.
Definitely.
You have to be a leader by example. You have to be motivating to your team. You have to have authority. You have to be participatory. You have to be all of these things, because to be a leader you should have follower.
Right.
Without follower there is no leader. That was one. Then when I came to my second job and started this HOD position, what I found is people used to come and tell something and then tell what you said. As per management principle, this is how it should be done. I am not from management. I don't know what is management principle. So I had to accept whatever they are saying.
Mhm.
So I thought this is not good.
Mhm.
So what I did not tell you in the beginning about my education, last part. In 2007,
Mhm.
I did a 1-year management course from IIM Indore.
Wow.
So that next time when someone comes and tell me this is as per management,
Hmm.
at least I should know whether he is
He's
telling the
telling the truth
correct
on.
thing or not.
Right.
And again, I learnt a lot of things there. And along with that, uh, some companies, they conduct very good training sessions also. One I would like to mention in particular is Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It was a 4-day workshop taken for some 30 people, and it was excellent and I learnt a lot of things. So These were some formal trainings. But then, along with that, when you interact with senior people in your company, management, including promoters, because they are entrepreneurs, they have established a company successfully. So, there is a lot of things you can learn from them. So, all of these things taken together, KOLs, scientific experts, this is how I have learned. And now if I get some chance, I try to share some of these learnings with my team also, so that they can also learn these things.
Definitely. Again, like when we talk about the leadership, you are supposed to very decisive, very adaptive, very friendly, approachable. Even the integrity has the very core power of leadership. Again, like continue with those things. I want to ask you, sir, like if I as a leader you are, uh, how we can see India. I know India is a clinical trial hub. How you will see those trends? How what is the future of clinical trials in Indian perspective?
So you had this. There is a mixed answer to this. I think in your previous podcast, Dr. Arun Bhatt was telling that India and South Korea are
Yes, right. He has
doing
taken
a
example of
same number of trials.
right.
So realistically speaking, I don't think we are going to cross US in terms of the number of trials that we are doing, because that is the market, that is where people are going to do trials, obviously.
Mhm.
When we become the biggest market, maximum number of
Number of
trials
trials will
also
be
will happen.
right.
However, things are much improved compared to that 1998 story which I told you in the beginning. Now we have new drugs and clinical trial rules 2019. More rules are coming. User friendly, sponsor friendly rules are coming. Scientific understanding is increasing. Earlier this scientific expert committee was not there, SEC was not there. Now it is there. Then there are other initiatives by Government of India. I can tell you one where I am personally involved. So the Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Consortium, or BIRAC, under the DBT, Department of Biotechnology, Government of India, they have many projects. One of them is to develop clinical trial networks. So initially they have started with 4 therapeutic areas, one of which is oncology. And I am a project monitoring committee member in that. So there are two networks that are being developed, one having 11 centers, another having 6 centers. And this was started 5 years back, it is now complete. And because of this, 17 new centers or 15 new centers have now been developed across India, which can do oncology trials. So you see, because of this, sponsors now have access to more tertiary care centers where they can do trials. Investigators in these places now have the opportunity to do trials at their hospitals. And most importantly, patients from these places now have the chance to participate in these trials. So there is a lot of effort that is going on. And I think, okay, I'll give one last quote again from old. I attended one conference in Indian Institute of Science,
Mhm.
Bangalore,
Okay.
way back 96 or something like that, even
Okay.
before I joined industry.
Okay.
So there was one quotation there.
Mhm.
The future is so bright that we have to wear shades.
That's great. I guess that future we will definitely look for the clinical trials in India. Again, thank you for sharing your thoughts and insight with us.
Thank you, Dr. Mangesh. It was indeed a very interesting experience to have this conversation with you. and a lot of learning and insight for me as well. So, wish you all the best for your new endeavor, including this one and the others where you are involved. Thank you.
थैंक यू सो मच सर, थैंक यू। क्लिनिकल रिसर्च का इम्पैक्ट प्रोटोकॉल और अप्रूवल तक ही सीमित नहीं रहता। ये डिसीजन लीडरशिप और रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी का प्रतीक होता है। आज के कन्वर्सेशन में हमें ये समझा कि स्ट्रॉन्ग साइंस के साथ स्ट्रॉन्ग इंटेंट एंड अलाइनमेंट की भी जरूरत होती है। एंड थैंक यू लिसनर्स फॉर सपोर्टिंग अस फॉर बियॉन्ड द मॉलिक्यूल टू रीच दोस like a step where we believe that those conversations should be fruitful, and it will be definitely help us to make sure that clinical research should be very insightful. And thank you to our listeners for being part of our conversation.